Test. Ah, yes. Hello. Hi, Rose. Hi, Kieran. Yes. Sorry, I'm just gonna get my mic on properly. Yes. Right. T-O. She sells seashells on the seashore. All right. Chat. Waiting on a few more. That's great. I'll just get ready. Literally just, it's a bit, it's interesting trying to beat the traffic to get to a lesson. Some logistical things there. All right. I'm gonna get the OneNote ready. We got another one. Hi. Sign in. OneNote. Let's get that ready. Diploma virtual. Oh, good. Can't hear a thing other than Dave talking. Oh, the audio link? No. So that brings up a good point, actually. So every session we start, so every new session, my volume is a bit low. Every new session, I had to make a new link. It's like, every time I open Ableton almost, I have to make a new link. So I'll send it over very soon. But yeah, there's just going to be me for now. Oh no, I'm looking at some old questions. My bad. No, oh good. We had a few more, didn't we? A couple more at least. Okay. I guess we'll slowly start. Hey, let's do that. Settings. Oh, Jasper and Jackson. Okie dokie. Yeah, it's called Audio Movers, but you don't have to worry about what it's called because I'll send you a link. That's everyone. So, speaking of, I get it started. Utilities. Audio Movers. We'll give them another minute and then we'll start. And if not, too bad for them. MV Utilities? Yeah, it's utilities. Where did it go? Listen to, that's the one. On the main, log in, high quality, start stream. Okay. All right, link in the chat for some for my Ableton sounds. Although we don't need it heaps yet. Jackson, welcome. Good, how are you? Welcome. I guess we should start now. All right, time to share my screen. Okay, camera, get over there. Share. Include sound screen 1. Okie dokie. All right, so you can see OneNote. Yes. All right. Welcome to week 2. Of course, early days. Last week we did some little bit of audio manipulation, but this week, we're gonna delve in a bit further, as per usual, as you expect. But of course, on the screen, you will see that a couple of things we're covering today. The big thing we'll cover today, and I say cover loosely, like it's a big topic, but this one right here, warping in Ableton. I think for some people it's a bit of a doozy, and to be fair, it kind of is, depending on various situations. But hopefully, from after today's lesson, you feel at least ready to tackle it with a bit more of a foundational standpoint. Yeah, so yeah, that's a big one. Skipping through the notes, this is for your own time to read about. Although there is a situation, a note that about copyright, I should say. So this question I get asked a lot, like almost actually, yeah, every time it's a new class, week 2, I get this question a lot. So I might as well answer it before anyone asks. Basically, it's the question of, hey, I found a cool sound somewhere. Um, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to use it. The answer I have for you is that is correct. There are some sounds you're allowed to use, some sounds you're not. But put it this way. Keeping in mind that the official wording of copyright material is intentionally vague, this is the copyright law. It is an artist, a person's not allowed to use a recognizable part of an existing song. Replace the word song with copyright material. But the key phrase in the law is not any recognizable part of a song, not recognizable. So therein lies an issue of what the hell are you talking about, law? What do you mean what's recognizable? Are you talking about a lyric, a melody, a drum sample, recording, studio, plug in? How far does it go, right? And therein lies with the recent famous example of Ed Sheeran. Some of you might have known about this. Ed Sheeran famously was going to quit music if he was going to lose his court case, which involved him playing a simple melody / chord progression. I think it's just a chord progression because someone somewhere said that this sounds like another song. And Ed was saying, you're trying to copyright a chord progression or something of that nature. That doesn't stand. But the law says, but it's recognizable, right? So there's this vagueness that that doesn't help anyone involved here. I release music with some samples. When I used to be a hip hop producer, I still do some hip hop, but I release some tracks with paid for samples. But in my career, I have definitely released stuff with not paid for samples, like not having the copyright thing. So I'll tell you one thing that helped me, and it's the reason why I never go in trouble. And it's quite simple. Because of the vague law, what you got to be aware of is, and be realistic about is, if you're releasing a song that contains a somewhat well-known sample, so whether it's a short bit or long bit, doesn't matter how far you take the sound. Like you could take a little snippet and warp the bejesus out of it, and do lots of effects. People think they can try that and somehow not get into any strife. That's not true because of that whole vagueness that is recognizable. It can still be done. It's happened before in history where people try to get away with stuff. The cold hard truth of it is, you release a song with any sample, and it does well with your mates and your social circles. You send it to your family, your friends and family. Maybe 10 people listen to it online. You're not going to get in trouble. If you use a recognizable sample and you release it for free, so you put it on SoundCloud just for a free download, you're not going to have any problems, right? In fact, that is a smart move. I can name a couple of artists that come straight to mind in my head. So someone like Kaytranada, a wonderful producer, R&B, trap, all the styles, but very singularly his style, Kaytranada. He made his career, I would argue, from his first 2 years of producing or releasing where he just did these remixes for free. He remixed Janet Jackson, he remixed Flume, he remixed Common, he remixed a lot of artists, and not official capacity at all. He just put it out on SoundCloud. All of a sudden people say, wow, this style's so cool, millions of plays, but because it's free, it didn't earn a cent, but arguably 1 million people listened. So at the very least, it was 1 million plus plays on YouTube, because this was at a time YouTube playlists and YouTube music in general started becoming a thing. Anyway, so my point is, just be smart with sample usage. Don't do what The Verve did and just try to take a recognizable part from Rolling Stones and release Bittersweet Symphony and then didn't earn a cent until recently because they had to pay so much royalties. Just be wise about it, right? On that note, I will point out a resource. So say you like making music with chunks of samples, big phrases. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay, because literally next week we're going to do it, this style of sampling. But this week we're starting small. I want to point out this resource. Straight away you can see it's a subscription-based thing. It is. But Tracklib, has anyone heard of Tracklib? Let's look at my second screen here. Anyone heard of Tracklib? Thumbs, just, or not, even not. What's the other reaction? Let me just guess it. React. Just maybe just a shocked reaction if you don't know, if you never heard of Tracklib. Yeah, cool. All right, a couple people awake. 2 more. Kieran, yeah. Jackson, where you at? Or maybe he has. And if you have, then you can do your thumbs. But maybe you'll be back later, hopefully. Hopefully we haven't lost you. Oh, no, there you are. Cool, mad. So yes, that's good. So no one's heard of it. All good. So what Tracklib is kind of like Splice. So surely Splice is the more popular one in most people who start their production journey. Splice is a wonderful subscription service with a lot of great samples and presets and even plugins that you can rent to own. But Tracklib, oh Kieran, nice. Tracklib is kind of like going to the record store, but online. So I have an account, so I'll just quickly sign in so you can see. And what Tracklib is amazing at is this. We'll go to pricing straight away. Oh no, not pricing for the subscription, because you got to subscribe to it to get to the platform. But once you're paying this monthly subscription, there's this actual licensing part. So you can clear your samples so you can actually release your music. Now, this part alone completely puts people off samples, especially those who want to get into the game of the hip hop style producing or music using a lot of samples. Electronic music notwithstanding. Luckily, they figured out a wonderfully easy sample clearance system. So, as you can see, they arrange samples in categories, so A, B, C. A being a more prominent artist, B not so much, C hardly known. And it depends how many seconds you use. Now, by the way, I don't know many artists who use a whole minute worth of music. That's a lot. That's kind of silly. So this is probably the most used section here. So look at this. You don't pay a thing to clear the sample initially, which is great because I paid 5 figures. I paid 5 figures for a sample clearance once, which is yucky. So you don't have to worry about clearance fee. I could have sworn there was, so this might be a temporary deal situation, or maybe Tracklib's, their library is maybe condensing a bit, which is good for us, I suppose. But more importantly, all you have to worry about is sharing the revenue. So let's just say you use a fairly recognizable sample from this website. And when I say recognizable, it could be, I don't know, it could be a, I was going to say Bob Marley. It probably wouldn't be Bob Marley, but let's just look at some quick names here. Category, can we go category? Oh, well, no, we'll just go look down here. I'm not going to play anything. I'm just going to show you some of the scale of artists here. There you go. Sun Ra Orchestra, absolutely one of my favorites, just in general, just musically, but they're on there. Who else? Jazzy. I mean, I wish I could tell you some of these names, but I'm not too across it myself these days. But yeah, it's established. Oh, Ninja Man. Yeah, so like, yeah. Oh yeah, Bach. Why not? Claude. Yeah, Debussy. Yeah, there's huge names. Anyway, they will definitely be classified sample like level A. It's going good to know that you do this the right way. All you have to pay is 25% of earnings if you use the top category for less than 15 seconds, which is a lot, by the way, because that could be like a whole phrase or two. 25% of what you earn. That's totally fair. Does Tracklib then do the work for you getting? Oh yeah, 100%. That's the biggest benefit. Whereas back in when I was doing it, I had to literally do it. I had to contact the record label and the artist. I had to reach out to the publishers, ask for these permissions, and then sign this, sign that, pay this, pay that, and then pay a royalty split. And because I'm not Timbaland, I'm not I'm not a big name producer. It wasn't feasible for me to make music like that, which is probably the reason why I got into synthesis, which is why I'm teaching this class, isn't it? But we're doing sampling and synthesis, but this is part of knowledge. Before, especially when people were a lot more like, what's the word? Vindictive when it comes to chasing down sample clearances, it was a lot harder. Let's pay homage to the great Australian outfit, the Avalanches. It's talking about samples. It just reminded me of something. What's the Since I Left You? If you don't know this album, look it up. It's fantastic. I'm not going to play anything now, but I believe it still holds the record. Estimated over 3,500 samples. Although number to be much lower, roughly 900. Still, 900 samples is no joke. It's a lot of clips. And I believe the bulk of it was clearance. The Avalanches work with sample clearance expert. There's a sample clearance expert, right, to clear the thousands of samples in the record. I know a lot of money was paid. They didn't make a lot of money. They made more money on touring, which is kind of the way it goes. 25% is a lot for 15 seconds. Yeah, it is a lot, but it's actually fair. And it's also not a lot because I paid 50 before for a similar amount of time. So Tracklib is extremely fair, if not on the cheap side. Why? Because why not? It's a good question, but if you know the music or you're not sure about the music, it's worth a listen to again and realizing you're listening to this absolute audio collage of sounds that come from a lot of different sources. I'll explain why next week, or at least some theories to why. But the short cop-out answer I can give you now is why not. There's a magic to it that maybe after next week you might see the appeal. Yeah. So use H1, you pay 10%. No. So if you use multiple samples, it is a percentage of each sample. But yeah, I suppose I see what you're trying to say. You might lose all your money. I don't think, as far as I know, besides the Avalanches and DJ Shadow and artists like that, in the case of like hip hop, which is where this is most well known, this whole sample clearance thing, I don't think they ever use more than 2 max samples. On average, it's one or two, and only more avant-garde or more, I was going to say shifty, but the more interesting sample-based producers would use under five. You know what I mean? Like you don't need much, right? But it's definitely some sort of scale. There's some sort of some sort of mathematic that I haven't done because I never bothered. I just use one sample and use it to its max. Again, next week that might reveal certain things. I don't want to spend too long on just sample clearance, but just be aware of it. Just be aware of the common sense of it. Be free to do it. If it's a big sample, don't try to make too much money off it. And look, there is a smart way of doing it, but I outline all that stuff in this anyway. But yes, going back a week, samples. We're just talking about audio, yeah. So obviously, I'm talking about to this point, I'm talking about pre-existing audio. So samples, audio from other songs, audio from even sample libraries, which are more focused, refined instrument sounds or musical sounds, right? So the other side of sampling is recording. Yeah. So if you don't want to deal with stuff that pre-exists, you can make your own, right? And especially in this day and age, it's almost no excuse not to give it a try, right? Who's got a smartphone? Anyone got a smartphone? Thumbs if you have a smartphone. I know it seems like a silly question, but sometimes some people carry bricks. I don't know. Yeah, that's two of you. Jackson, Angie, yeah? Cool. Angie, smartphone? Yeah? I'm just going to keep doing this until, yeah! Good. That means you have what you need to do this section. Now, literally in week 2, I get people to, and I'm talking about my face-to-face class, I get people to leave the classroom and record a bunch of sounds, and then we'll take those sounds and turn them into something. To give you a quick little taster, and as a way to kind of make sure everyone's on Audio Movers, make sure everyone's got that link. So I think maybe Jackson, you didn't get it because you jumped on a bit later. Just make sure everyone jumps on. Just to give you an idea of what can happen with these techniques I'm about to show you, I'll show you a couple of things here. I need to go to Dropbox. Go to Dropbox, TAFE. Is it samples? No, that's my samples. Class sample packs. Yeah, this one's fine. This one's old, but it's fine. So here's an example what we're gonna do a little bit today. Okay. So these sounds are sounds that I've done something to the sounds that were recorded by students at the TAFE Ultimo campus. So for example, Velcro. So someone had a bag or something and they just opened their bag. I turned it into this sound. Let's see. Here. Yeah, hopefully you can hear that. Let me know if you can't hear that. Because I still only got 2 people on that. 3? All right. Yeah, I got a thumbs up from Kieran. Can everyone hear it? Who am I missing here? Jackson or Rose? Yeah. Rose can hear it. Jackson, just make sure you grab this link here. Yeah, cool. Awesome. So that loop which I guess is scarcely believable, but I turned it into this, so I can tell you it came from literally opening a bag that had Velcro tags, right? So it went like that, and then I turned it into this. Speaking of bags, there's a zipper that became this, and you might even hear my voice in the background. I did some one shot, so this is a can, so let's put that here. This is a garbage bin, so that's turned to a massive kick. More abstract is some of these sounds, so let's see, yeah. This came from a bicycle bell. You know those Lime bikes that you see everywhere? So I got a student recorded some bell stuff. Again, probably scarcely believable, but it's true. Oh yeah, and this was a scrape. So someone went to the no stopping sign just outside our building M at Ultimo campus, and they went on the signpost, and I turned it into this sound. So yeah, it's kind of cool that you can take sounds from the outside world or the world around you and turn it into sounds that you could possibly use musically. Now, of course, at the first glance, when you hear a one-shot sample like this, it might not seem like, well, what can I do with it though? I'll show you what you can do. Here's a sound that was quite literally just the bottle. Actually, it was my water bottle because my water bottle was accessible, I guess. All right, turn it into that. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to show you how to turn that sound into this, if it lets me play. And we add some reverb. Let me just quickly do this and that. I'm not going to show you how to do this today. I'm just going to just demo what you can potentially do with this in the near future. Actually, you might even do this. Can't play. Oops, sorry. Cool. So yeah, you can do a lot. But we just got to get there and actually show you how to do it. Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to record some sounds. Okie dokie. You all have phones, smartphones, which means you all can do this. All right. This has worked for a lot of artists. Probably the most popular artist in recent history that does this all the time is Fred Again. Another amazing artist would be Steve Lacy, but he's not as abstract. He just records stuff into his phone, like he's a wonderful musician. Whereas Fred Again will record stuff into the phone and use it as sounds like this, or use vocal recordings to get interesting textures into his music. Anyway, so on a smartphone, if you're on an Apple iPhone, you should have the voice memo app. If you're on Android, I'm sure you got something the same. If not, use this time to grab a free software version if you're on an Android. But yes, voice memo recordings. I love the app. It's very simple. All you got to do is just start a new recording, hit record and hit stop, right? And then you can, once you're done with that, you can, where's my camera? You can then airdrop it to your laptop, right? So what you got to do is just press the three dots. Sorry, I don't have a better way of showing you here. The three dots, which is here. Once you finish recording, hit share and you can airdrop it to your computer. We'll worry about that part in the near future. But anyway, so before we go out then record stuff, going back to the notes here, believe it or not, what I do in the recording studio in terms of procedures and you know, optimal recording practices, I do apply to the phone. It's the same, just with different hardware, right? So you should do it too. So, for example, let's demonstrate. I want to record, what camera I'm looking at. Let me just bring this over here so it's easier to see what I'm doing. There you go. Okay, cool. So got my phone. I got the thing I'm going to record. Actually, that's not a good sound. This one. All right. Classic, right? Shakery sound. Yeah. So if you've never done any like studio recordings, this is a good time to kind of maybe get some of these principles in you, even though we don't really have true recording classes at Diploma Composition course. I'm going to give you a little bit now. Typically the procedure is quite simple, but if the reason why we have this procedure in the recording studio is it ensures a great result every time. So, and a bit of consistency mostly. All right, so let me give you a taste. You have your recording apparatus, which could be audio interface, a microphone, or in this case, an all-in-one recording device, which is the iPhone. First thing I do, I practice. This is like with music, right? You need to know what you're doing. So I practice / audition. I'm gonna do this, right? Next thing you gotta do is you gotta set up your input levels and optimal gain. What that means is you make sure that when you hit record, you don't just record something that's too distorted. Because despite all the technology we have in the world, one thing we can't fix is if there's distortion or clipping, same thing, but the clipping is the nasty part of it. If the audio recording has clipping in it, you can never take it out. You can try to mask it, but if you do that, you take out parts of the recording as well. It's not possible. In fact, you shouldn't do it, and it doesn't sound good anyway. So how do you do it? You test, again, your audition. You get your recording device, and you do a test recording. In some cases, if you got monitoring as well, so let's just say we're doing this with earphones with the mic attached, you can listen to it first, and you can tell if it's too distorted or not. So for example, even though I'm doing a stream to you from my computer, that's my son in the background there. If I hit this very hard, I might clip the mic that I'm wearing on me. Although it will take a lot more to do some clipping. Yeah, that might be a clip actually. So if I think that's not good, I need to space it, right? So I'll need to go maybe either play not as loud or need a bit more space. So something like this, further away. Yeah, so I gotta get a test, right? So on the phone, similar deal. You can't monitor live unless you got the earphones. So what you do a test recording. So you got your device here, hold it at a good level, good height from the object. You hit record, you do a test. Right, you may have noticed something there. I went quiet after I hit record. I did the thing. I waited, quiet, then I hit stop. Very important to have a gap in the beginning at the end. You never want to accidentally cut off a recording. So if you were doing this and you hit stop straight away, you've potentially cut the end of the sound because all sounds have an end. So even in this bedroom, there'll be a bit of reverb. There's reverb everywhere, even in treated rooms. So if I cut it off too soon, I might lose that little part at the end. So you make sure you don't cut anything off. Yeah. You listen to it back and you go, all right, does that work or not? Okay. If it sounds crunchy or yucky or just like that kind of stuff, distorted, delete it. It means you're too close or you're too loud. You move back an extra inch or so. So where I was here, if it was distorting there, then I'll do it here. Are we clear? Thumbs if you understand. Yeah, cool. All right. Now, I've basically super explained extremely quickly the whole recording, right? So in terms of the procedure at least. So just try to adopt that from now on and it'll help you with your own recording, but definitely with this exercise. So what we're going to try and record today is a handful of sounds. Let's aim to get 3 sounds each. Okay. And my goal to you is to record something. Oh no, it's going too far ahead. You can read this, the more detail in your own time. But the goal is to record something percussive. Something, so percussive could be like that, could be Velcro. And then, actually, let's just do 2 things. Yeah, 2 things. We'll just do 2 sounds today because there's a lot I want to do today. So one thing percussive and one thing that has a clear melodic note, which is a very hard one to do, by the way, if you don't have anything musical instruments in your home. So for example, if you got a piano, sweet, just play a C, record that. We're going to be in a good spot. We can do a lot with that. If you have a guitar, good for you. Just play a single string, let it ring out. Dung. Don't play a whole thing. We're not. I don't. That's not the purpose. I don't need to see your musical skills. We just want to see a good sample. We're collecting a good sample. So the percussive sounds super easy. Anything can be percussive. It could be like, even though this is not a drum, it's a Nintendo Switch case, I can make it sound rhythmic. Right? It doesn't have to be bang on timing as well. It's just something that has a percussive quality to it. Whereas because I don't have anything musical here, my closest thing is some sort of solid metallic object. See, it's got that tone, even though it might not be in key, it's got this almost singy quality to it. I can't sing. Well, I don't know what that note that is, but I can turn it into a musical note. I know that because I have a song that I made with this. Exactly. If you don't believe me, I'll send you a link. I made it last year during a class exercise and it turned out to be a whole track. Yeah, so that's an easy one for you. You can do that if you have no musical instruments. If you do, then use what you got. But remember, just one note only. But yes, let's give ourselves, what's the time? Let's be quick about this. I'll give you 15 minutes. So I'll call time at 6:25 to find these 2 sounds. One percussive, I'll type it in the chat. One percussive, doesn't have to be in time either. One percussive sound, 2 single melodic sound. Yep, sound. Are we clear? Any questions? Ask me now before I let you go. Yeah, clear. Thumbs up, everyone. If you have no questions, you're just gonna go out there and record. I'll still be here, obviously, but yeah, cool. All right, wicked. I'll still be here, but let's go out there to our spaces, do our thing. Go outside if you want to. Be safe, of course. And at 6:25, we'll share what we got and we'll get some technical stuff happening. Okie dokie. I'll just mute my mic though. Yeah. See you in a bit. Okie doke. Everybody back? Thumbs up if you're back. Got 1, 2. Just waiting on Kieran. Kieran, come back. Yeah, sweet inroads, nice. Okie dokie. All right, so how did that go? Not super simple, right? Especially with the melodic sounds. Unless you have musical instruments, then if that's the case, super easy. But of course, yes, we got some sounds now. Now, upload them to your computer if you haven't already. I'm going to show you how to import them into Ableton the right way. Ideally, this is what you do. All right. Now, some of you might have super messy desktops. That's okay because we're working live, so hopefully won't get too lost. All these things open. Close, 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 close. All right. Now, even think of my instruments. It's okay. You can do it in your own time. No big problem. All right. Ideally, you make a new folder. This should tie into what I talked about last week, but it's okay. Have a samples folder. In that samples folder, move the files that you recorded into here, ideally. And if samples is too generic, give it your name, like Dave Samples. You know, add a bit of a, I don't know, I was going to say personality, but make it yours. Give it a color tag. Do whatever you like. Music samples is good as well, or just whatever makes sense to you. Okay. I'm going to see if I can emulate this setup. I'm pretty sure I recorded some. I got some raw ones from back in the day. Let's just see. Sample pack, online group. Yeah, here we go. Oh no, where's my ones? Some of these are a bit rough. No, don't worry, you guys can't hear this because this is all on my computer. Okay, I'll grab a few of these. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna emulate what you guys just did and just copy it into this sample folder. Now, forgive me if you know this already, but you know, I'm all about good workflow. So here's what I would do. Your folder's on your desktop. You know that because you just made it. Go back into Ableton. What you should do is navigate to your browser on the left-hand side. Scroll all the way down. At the very bottom of the browser is an option that I absolutely love called Add Folder. Click that. Navigate to your desktop or wherever you decide to put this sample folder of yours. Okay. Just click the folder once. Just click it one time there and just hit open. What will happen is Ableton will now put that folder in the browser above the add folder function. You can rearrange this if you're building a whole list of things just like I do. So all this stuff that's there now is stuff that lives on my computer somewhere. It doesn't live inside Ableton, it lives inside my computer. But Ableton is now linked it to the browser, making it easier to find. Now, why on earth would we do this? Very simply, here's the answer. This, I believe, is more annoying, right, than this. Now you might go, well, it's kind of the same, isn't it? Well, yeah. When it's one sample, it's not so bad. Try dragging over multiple and see how far you get. Yeah, it's not as simple. You gotta have the tracks right. You gotta hold a shortcut to make it multi-tracked, which is I'll show you in the future. Don't worry. But yeah, there's few more mechanics to get it right. This is fail-safe. You get me? Do this, right? And again, forgive me if I, because I get my classes confused sometimes. Forgive me if I didn't tell you or suggest you to make your own sample folder. I'm pretty sure I did, but if you haven't had like your personal stash of samples, because trust me, you will be collecting them either from this class or beyond, right? You should do it. See, so I have a folder in my music. It says here music. I have a folder of just samples I collect, including presets. Now, today, if you haven't done this already, today is the day you should start doing that because it does help you for your assignment too. Okay, which we'll talk about a bit later too. Okay, so do that, and then it kind of makes sense why my stuff looks like this, because I want loops here, I want instruments, I want vocals, yada yada yada. It helps in your workflow. Okay. Now, what you should do is put one sound on each track. Okay. I got lots of stuff here because it's my template, so I'm just going to redo some of this. Okay. And I know I grabbed a bunch. I'm just going to grab a couple just like you did. So, do I have anything percussive? That could work. One. Yeah, cool. That's perfect. So I got one melodic sound, one thing, one rhythmic sound. Okay, get rid of that too. Rename this, call it blank. My son's having a great time in the background there. Okay, so I don't know if you can hear that, but that's my son. Okay, so I have this sound. Going from what we did last week, we can already use this, right? Before we can really use it well though, there's a couple of things we got to consider. We got to consider if the sound starts straight away. This one obviously doesn't. You can see there's a gap here. So before we wield this in a musical manner, we should make the file be playable, not playable, but we've got to make sure the file is optimized for this kind of business. So what I'm going to do is I want to make sure that the note or this bell sound starts immediately, right? So I'm going to zoom in using this zoom navigation tool here. Zoom it nice and close. I don't really need to see my browser at this point. I just need to focus down here. Okay. Now this is where that shortcut, which I'm pretty sure I briefly mentioned last week, on a Mac, Command 4, on a PC, Control 4, is very useful. Now watch this little guy here. If I press the shortcut, it flicks between a numbered form and off. Numbered means quantized, so that means the grid is on. Yeah. And if it's off, look how it highlights now. It's not highlighting per grid, it's just highlighting smoothly, which is excellent for what I want to do, which means I want to zoom right in there. I'm just going to hit spacebar quickly to see if it punches in nicely. Maybe even zoom in a tad more. Whoa. Mouse just flew off the pad. There we go. Cool. That's a great point to make an edit. To do an edit, I use another shortcut, which is Command E. E for edit. So Command E or Control E on the PC. And now I zoom out. What I can do now is I can turn my grid back on with the same shortcut, Command 4 or Control 4. I can delete this dead space, move this down here. Yeah. There's also some stuff at the end I don't really need, so I'll just crop it down because I can see that it ends on the beat, which is great. Yeah. Now at this point, I noticed there's some issues. There's some noise. There's this little sound in the back end of that sound, which you might have too, because unless I'm not mistaken, most people here probably are not working inside a super acoustic treated room. So it's probably some ambient sounds, which is totally fine. What you can do is you can kind of try to get as much note as possible, so the bulk of the primary sound, and remove some of the artifacts as much as possible. And it can be done very easily. Notice that when I click on the clip, right, I can grab it and move it around. That's normal, right? But if I move the mouse down slightly, I notice there's these things in the corners. Okay. These things are fades, fade in and fade out. So if I was to grab the top corner of this one, I can fade in. Grab the right one, I can fade out. So if I was trying to be clever here, I'd just go, and I should minimize some of that ambient sound. Not too much though, I don't want to cut off too much of the tail here. Fairly decent. There's still a little bit of something there, but it's better than before. At this point, you just go, well, that's good. That's all I can do. And deal with it. This is kind of the magic of recording stuff. It might not be perfect, but it's got something about it. It's got a little story baked into it. It's like you're working with analog photos, yeah? So, boom. The next step, and this is extra, but I like doing this. I like to go right click, and I use a shortcut for this, but I'll show you the shortcut. Actually, sorry, before we go on, everyone's on Ableton 12, correct? Thumbs up if you've got Ableton 12. Yeah. So you have this, if that's the case, then you have this newer feature that came out only a month or two ago called Bounce Track in Place. What that does is it incorporates our fade into the audio file, whereas before the fade was just like an automation. What it does do is that it can create multiple clips. You don't need that, so just cut it up to where the note is. Cool. Now, if we apply what we learned from last week, we can do the same things as before. So what I mean by that is creating a simple sequence. And so let's be a bit more spicy. Let's go here, here, duplicate, just to make another copy. Maybe make this one shorter, make this one double up there, so it's got a double hit, and that's fine. What I got is a simple 4-bar idea. Cool, very basic, but as we learned from last week, we can do things like clicking one of these clips, double clicking them. Let's just put this down so we can still see the arrangement, and doing these tricks. So reverse, pitch and gain. Let's make this a bit quieter. Let's make some of those double hits, one of the double hits quieter. Groovy. Oops, skipped a step. I don't want to do that. I always do that, but I don't want to do that yet. I want to do loop, yep. Cool. I might do some... Yeah, I do record. Oh, sorry. Maybe I didn't point it out last week, but in your teams now, this lesson's recording now. In the teams, in the classwork, I put the videos I record. It's a YouTube link, so you can catch up and see things that maybe I move too fast, or stop me if I'm saying something too quickly or showing something too quick, you need to repeat, just hands up, raise hand, let me know, whatever, get my attention. Okay, cool. Keep it simple. What I can do now is I can grab all of these, so highlight all of them. Notice where I'm clicking here. I'm clicking in the middle here, like that. And I can pitch them all at once. Now, what I can also do is I can click the individual clips and pitch them individually. So let's go. What am I on here? I'm on -4. So just thinking intervals that work. Let's go -4, -3. So -7. Let's go lower. Maybe -5. Let's put this one -9 as well. See if this one works higher. So let's go +5, which is 1. Let's just loop that again. I feel like that needs a little reply to it, hey? Like a call and response thing. Then like a bim, bum, bam. So I'll shorten this. Bam, bam. -5 again, which is -4. Cool. And what's great is once I get this contour of melody happening, I can still try it at different keys by just grabbing them all and pitching them in unison. Let's just quickly add some effects, see if it works in a vibey way. But that's just spice. I want to see if the sound works in the beginning, in the first place. A bit more volume work would help, I think. So just adjust these a bit more. Because dynamics is important. So this is the clip overview area. Just remember to get to it, you double click the clip to see it. Now, in some cases when you do that, you might just see the whole thing like this. So if you hover to the kind of outer, not the outer reaches, but the border of that window, you can shift it to where you want it to be. So you can hide it, and then you can also bring it back and have it all the way up, you know, completely up to you. And if you lose it, the fail-safe method is to double click any clip and it will open that clip in its overview. Okay, cool. So we got that. We've turned this bike bell into a melody. I had a 4-bar idea, but I think even in 2 bars you can make a slightly melodic riff idea. So I want you to try the same thing right now, considering we're running out of time. Oh no, not really running out of time. We've still got like 20-ish minutes because I still want to talk about the assessments. Let's go for 2 bars, everyone. 2 bars. Grab that melodic sound you got, clean it up, and try to turn it into like a 1 beat. So say it's 1 to 1.2 here, a 1 beat sound, just to kind of make it nice and easy to work with. Trim where you have to. Um, Clean it up. Make sure it starts at the beginning of the clip. Just remember my advice to use the unquantize mode so you can clip it correctly. They recognize the files as sound files. You have to add the folder, but nothing shows. Are you on a Mac or a PC? Yes. You're going to need to convert them. Sorry, I forgot about iPhone to PCs is a thing. Hang on. And for a PC converter. Yeah, you can convert them in VLC. Good one, Rose. You got VLC. That makes our lives easy. Pretty certain you can. Pretty sure. No. Let's figure it out. Oh no, I don't want Discord. Go away. Where did it go? Hello. Where are you, VLC? New window. Show all windows. Let's see if I can open. Play my. What's that? Rain sounds to sleep to. Where did the window go? I have to go here, don't I? Show main window. There it is. All right, so populate the two samples in here. I'm pretty sure if you go to audio, is it? Or file? Maybe it's file. Yeah, convert stream. Drop media here. Convert, let's see. Audio, yeah. So you want to convert it to MP3. Yeah, or even CD, but MP3 should work as well. Okay. PC. Yeah. So there's a converter inside VLC. I'm pretty sure that's the same on the PC too. Just see what you can do there. But yes, everyone, trim the file up. Make a simple sequence. I don't care if it's on every beat, 4 to the floor. That's fine as well. But let's see if you can do what I did. Change some volumes, change the pitches, and make it sound melodic. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes. Do yell out or raise your hand or in the chat if you need help. Let me know if you need help. Or do you just want to have fun? Go for it. What options does it give you? Maybe I'm going to go custom. Okay. Strange. Well, if that works, that works. I guess the proper way would have been to go to audio, choose one of these codecs. Okay. PC. I can't help myself. I used to use PC, but quality of life, right? A few more minutes, peeps. Three more minutes. just audio tracks. We are fiddling with them in a way, but just on the audio level. Okay, just still keeping it basic. There's one more level we're going down in a bit. Yeah. No effects. No effects. Bear with it. It's gonna be dry, but it's okay. All in the fundamentals. Okay. You can totally do it after class, but for now, keep it raw. Give you a couple more minutes, peeps. Ignore them for now. I'll explain that in a bit. It's nothing life-changing. Just one more minute, yeah. All right, let's just leave that there. Moving on, you can do more. You can review the video and you can do more in your own time. It's just a way to review last week, right? This week, though, this is where it gets a bit different. So I have a sample here. It's rhythmic, but it's not in tempo or anything like that, right? So we're going to introduce a new function that lives in the sample overview, the clip overview. And it's a section that you may have seen and even use already, but I'm going to teach you some ways of how to use it. So warping, my son's going nuts. Warping is what we're doing today. Now, obviously, I explain warping in more detail here in OneNote. Warping algorithms, warping markers, that kind of stuff, but I'm going to give you the introduction now. Warping is time stretching. Time stretching is the ability to take audio and move it, right? You can change the timing of an audio file, like change the timing of a performance or the data within it. change the placement of it. And the purpose of it is to use it to fix timing in the performance or make a sample, in terms of time, be at the places you want. Okay. Now, you may notice that warp mode turns on and off automatically sometimes. So I'll address that now. If you go to your preferences, toddlers, there's a tab here in the settings called Record Warp in Launch. Under this Warp and Fades heading here, you can see there's some options you can adjust. Now, for mine, it says long and warp short samples. It's on automatic, which is the default behavior. In a lot of cases, I tend to have that off. Okay. Why? Because for short sounds, I don't necessarily want the warping on unless I'm intentionally going to do that. And generally speaking, for the short sounds, I just don't need to warp them generally. Auto warp long samples, I have mine off specifically. Yours will be on for sure. If you never changed it, it will be on for sure. Okay. I normally have it off, but for you, you can leave it on. It's not a big problem. You should turn it off if you feel like you record a lot of stuff and you don't like it how the timing seems to change after you record it. That happens because Ableton tries to not fix the timing for you, but it'll try to lock the timing in for you. And Ableton, it's a computer. Computers aren't perfect. They're ones and zeros. They don't necessarily know nuance, right? So in some cases, this may be more annoying to deal with. When in doubt, we can turn everything off and you can always warp something later, okay? But just be aware of that. The warp modes, there's these different modes here. I explain the usage and the different types of warp modes in the document down here. But at this point, don't worry about changing it because as you can see, even I leave it on beats. There's another little sneaky little option here which I find myself conflicted about. It says here create fades on clip edges. So by default, because yours will be on too, by default, but what happens is if you zoom in very, very closely and you click your clips, what if I can show you here, make that on. You may notice if you zoom in close enough, yeah. Oh, in this case, because I edited, it wouldn't do it, but let's just quickly put in another sample. And I'll show you the specific scenario this happens on. You let it say a kick drum. If you zoom in very tightly, you may notice that there's a tiny fade here. And what's harder to see is here. Now, why I say I'm conflicted is that when it comes to leaving this on, is that there are some reports from people who reckon Ableton doesn't sound punchy. What they don't know is this is happening, okay? If I had a kick drum that has a fade in every time I put it onto the track, even though it's very short, and sounds fine, right? I wouldn't know the difference, right? But if I had this same sample in a different DAW, it might sound a bit more like this. And that little bit might be obvious to you if you're that way inclined, okay? So for me, when I'm making dance club music, I want everything to kind of hit nicely. So there was a long time where I turned this off. But the problem with that is the moment you say you do some editing and you're copying things around and you might overlap something, let's say, When you overlap something or you squishing things together, having no fades is actually detrimental because then it might cause some clipping, right? Like bad crossfading. In this case, if I didn't have the option, there'll be no crossfading. So just be aware of that. Don't worry about it so much now, but if you ever, if that sounds like something you don't want to deal with, then definitely turn that option off, okay? Anyway, let's get warping because we're running out of time. And I'll level with you. I think I need to sort my boy out in a second. Now, I have an issue. There's obviously some strong percussive sounds here, but they're not timed to anything. Like if I look at my BPM here, turn on my metronome here. It's not synced up, is it? So what I can do is, if this warp thing is off, the warp mode's off, I can turn it on. And once it's on, I can time stretch, I can move things. And to move things is fairly simple. Be mindful of your grid, so your ones, your twos, your threes, your fours, just where your beat counts are and everything. And all you got to do is hover in this section here. So just note where my mouse is, just there, right? And notice what happens when you cross over from left to right. You notice that there will be these little flags that show up. Yours will be in gray if you don't have a theme. By default will be gray. You'll see these kind of flags. Now these flags are great because these are warp markers. And what warp markers are is Ableton's detection of transients. Transients being a beginning spike of a piece of audio, like some bits, the beginning parts of spikes, like spike, beginning part. And what's even better is you can make your own. So let's say Ableton didn't catch it, you wanted to actually control this piece in the middle here, because I got two markers here. Let's just say I just want to override, I can double click anywhere really and make my own marker. But let's keep it simple. Chances are you got spikes. Chances are they're not in time, because I emphasized they didn't need to be when you're recording it, because I knew that we're going to manipulate time. Whoa. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to look at our spike. Usually you can tell if it's got some sort of information there. You hover, you find the marker, you double click, and it locks in that marker. I'm going to repeat this for every spike I want to use. That's a key phrase, because you don't have to use all of them, but I want to use these 4 hits. I actually like the beginning bit too, but I'll just keep it simple for now. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. This one I might use later, but to be honest, I might just trim it out, chuck it out first, bring this to the beginning. I'll use this as something else, all right? So I got 4 bits, and what I want to do here is, keeping in mind I still got quantize on because I want to, I'm going to repurpose what I had in this recording, push and pull to where I want it to go. And this is where the grid is super handy, because it's going to be quantized with the BPM. Let's pull it like this. Ooh. Now I got a little bit extra, and when I say extra, I'm in a situation where I seem to have a decent cycle, and I got a bit extra here which doesn't quite work. So I'm going to trim this down, and as you can see, I always want to try and make my life easy. So I want to trim this down to a clip I can use. Now I have a little issue here where I could probably do with some extra notes here and here, maybe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to limit myself to 2 bars. And because I can afford to, I'm going to use my Command E's again and my Option drag to kind of take a note from an existing place and put it somewhere else, just to make a clean loop. It's a bit messy. Let's put it here. Perfect. I'm going to grab this 2-bar idea, duplicate that, and add a little double hit here. You see how I like to vary, even if they're short ideas. If I do a copy, I want to do a little variation even in that small section. Oh, sorry, that bell's distracting us a bit, but that's fine. Let's just focus on Fork and Grind. Fork and Grind is the name of the cafe across the road from our building. Oh yeah, Time Stretch is amazing, and it's why Ableton has the reputation it has to this day. The fact that it came out with this 20 years ago, people kind of cotton on to the fact that, wow, elastic audio. That's how Ableton was selling it. Elastic audio is super powerful. I'm using a percussive sound now. Imagine a vocal sample or your vocal recording. You can be very practical and shift some notes around just to make the timing tighter, or you can completely repurpose a piece of audio. Now, speaking of which, note what I did. I could have easily just made one flag and moved it before making multiple flags and moving it. There's a reason for that. If I just made one and not did the others, look what happens. Let's just get rid of these. If I just had one and I moved the others, look what happens. Everything after the marker that you're working on currently also gets shifted, which is horrible. What happens is the timing is shifting all over the place, right? Whereas what I did before was I had my marker set first, and let's just say I was moving things like this. Notice that the ones after and before, they don't shift around as much. In fact, they're kind of locked down in their primary positions. This is how we make sure what we're doing is we're essentially grabbing the notes we want, the rhythm, and we're actually moving them into the right places, as opposed to generic time stretching, which is just shifting time willy-nilly. Because that's fine too, but in this situation where I want a rhythmic sound to be truly rhythmic and to be turned into a loop, a drum loop in this instance, I want it to make sure I grab the hits I wanted and then shifting it properly, yeah? And therefore I can keep things tight. It doesn't distort it sonically, it distorts it visually, as you can see. It's like, kind of stretches it around. I'm just gonna have a bit of fun here and add this little talking layer because I think I can use it. Solo that. This is a great example of using non-percussive sound, but maybe you still want to give them a rhythmic, cyclical feel. So what I'm going to do, when I say cyclical, I don't mean like techno. I just want to make sure I can loop it cleanly, right? So it's just short of a bar here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to time stretch it. So I'm going to make my notes. And what's great about doing this is I can actually impart a rhythm into it. Okay. So let's go make that on the note. Ooh. Now I run out of audio here because that's before the drums happen. So again, some sneaky tricks to do here is to maybe copy this across again. And let's just choose a different section. Oh, that's not bad. Let's maybe make this a bit slower. So when I say slow, I mean if I pull it this way, that audio is going to be stretched slower. So the more you stretch it to the right, the more you're slowing down the audio. Yeah? Alright. Yeah? Interesting. So I made a clean 1 bar. Gonna do some loops. Let's see how that sounds. Let's see if it works with the beat. The beat's quite loud. Let's turn them all down. Might want to bring the vocals up a bit. It's not true vocals, don't get me wrong, but it's like gibberish that's turned into something rhythmic. It's a bit messy in the middle, hey? This part's a bit messy. If you don't know where to recognize these bits, you got to play with it a bit more. This comes from experience and listening and tying in what you hear and what you see. But trust me, it's achievable. When I first started doing this, it was very hard to wrap my head around, but it wasn't so bad. Oh yeah, so I stretched it out a bit. So before it was here, it sounded busy. So if I stretch it out, I'm giving it more space. Let's loop this section now. I can't want to use that little other sound. Yeah. And you know, you can use the same tricks as before, the reverse pitch and all that. Let's go down. It's probably a bit too extreme. Let's go lower. Nah, don't be. I was trying to be too cute. And I just feel like you add a snare, you got half a beat going on. Can't help myself here. Bum. Bum, bum, bum. Oops, forgot to unsolo. There we go. That's how you make pretty gangster beats. Add a hat loop and there you go, make your money. It's not quite the right genre, but I don't care. Let's see if that works. Oh, it's not even timed. That's okay. These are warped for some reason. Oh, you know what? Because I turned it off. Silly. This is where I do want warped. Let's put on auto. So see why I had this conundrum where leaving things on and off in that setting? Having the warp does help workflow. It just sometimes you just don't want it on all the time. So let's bring this back. Yeah, anyway. Now, don't get me wrong. I made my life easy by choosing a sample that I recorded and I know pretty well. I used this example in class before, made something different, but it's you do this act enough, then it becomes part of your toolkit. Yeah. So try and do what I did. I'll give you 5 minutes, and then they'll leave us a tiny bit of time to talk about assessments real quick. Okay. But yes, let's just grab a sample, clean it up if need be. Don't try to be too cute by trying to isolate other parts, and like I did. Try to just simple is good, especially now. It's better to get something started than have something wonky. Like just something nice and clear and simple to start with, and then you can build, build, build. Yeah. So double hover here, double click to make some notes. Clear and simple. Shift them to just easy identifiable beats. So I'm just going boom, 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 like you can do dancey 4 to the floor. You can do whatever, but just simple. Yeah. So Rose, what we're doing is how I started with just that kind of mess that was the sound of the cafe, fork and grind. You can't hear that, so let me just show you the before and after. So I took this rhythmic sample I asked you to record. Seemingly random, and I turn it to a rhythmic, intentional thing. That's okay, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay. It's all part of the process. So crop them. Get good at cropping them. That's no mean feat. That's a whole course, audio editing. So crop them, clean it up, see if you can find, even if it's just a couple of spikes, right? Just a couple of things. Fours, even numbers are good. 2, 4, 8, that's good. But 2 or 4 will be ideal, and just shift them using the time stretch, making sure warp is on, so you can turn a rhythm out of it. Okay. But yeah, don't feel like you're behind. No. Don't ever think that there's no race. We're all doing it. Like I still encounter a sample that needs a lot of work and takes me forever just to time stretch. It's all part of the journey. Okay. But yeah, have a go. I'll give you. We might just save talking about the major. No, I still want to talk about it. So yeah, just a couple minutes. Yeah, a couple minutes. And consider making it a more fine-tuned version for homework. Yeah. But do me a favor, make sure you save this project. Save it wherever you normally save your stuff. Save it so you can come back to it, because there's a high chance that you'll use this for your sample pack. Yeah. But yes, save everything you do in these classes. Ideally, save it by week. So week 2, it's week 2. That way you have a mental note what week we covered what. So week 2, we're just doing basic warping, basic editing. It might trigger you to go, oh, I might use that for the sample pack or for my own music. Okay? Sorry, I'll be quiet now for the next couple of minutes. So I don't use this loop handle as much. You don't really see me adjusting these. So what I aim to do, that's why I like to work in even numbers, say 2 bars, 4 bars. I'll push my events to wherever I want them to be, so here, 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 here. I grab an even amount. If I want 4 bars, then I'll grab 2 bars worth, Command D or Control D to duplicate it across. Make sure you highlight the bars, not the content. It doesn't matter what's in there. It's more important to highlight the bars, and then the content will follow suit. And what I like to do is I'll grab the section. So again, highlighting the bars, so 4 bars worth. I'll hit, for you, Rose, and is Control L. For Max is Command L. And what happens is Ableton will loop around that section for you. Okay. And you can even loop a clip like you're saying, but you start to lose context. So I'd rather you loop sections. So highlight 2 bars if you got something within that range at first. And that way you can have a bigger picture in mind when you're doing this. What days? I teach this. There's 2 face-to-face sound design classes tomorrow, because there's only 2 groups this semester. So I'll be in all day tomorrow if you want to come down. Which is that invitation's open to everyone here. I know everyone might be living in various parts of the world sometimes. That's the case for some students. But if you're near Ultimo, I'm in. My classes are 9:30 to 12:30, and then 1:30 to 4:30, and you're more than welcome to come join and ask me questions. So you, 100%, 100%. Are we sending these to you? Yes, please. Send it to me, and I can give you a quick little feedback. And that'd be sweet. If you send it now, I can even play in class, but probably not today, because A, you run out of time, B, it's early days. It's all very experimental at the moment. And that's fine. Simple is good. We can make things sound more juicy, but a simple idea is a good idea, right? That's why pop music works so well. Pop is simplicity executed brilliantly. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So when you're done, send it to me. Even if you're not sure about it, send it to me. See if I can help you with anything. Yeah. Let's just move on. Yeah. Let's just remember to save the project. Okie dokie. So last call to action thing we got to do today. Teams. You may have got some notices a bit earlier. Sound design with Dave Trung, that's me. The assessments are now live. Your first one's due this week already. Okay, so sound design knowledge quiz 1. Do not overthink this one, because I'll show you. So when you click into it, you'll see this. Click that. That's the link to the actual quiz. And let's just look at the quiz here. What does the term sample mean? All right, even if you're not sure, just look at these answers. Yeah. So common sense prevails in this quiz and your first assessment for my class. Yeah. Very very simple. Okay. Some things you might need to read about, maybe, but it's not I'm not going to say it's not a serious test, but it's not a quiz designed to really test your knowledge. It's just to kind of get you in the flow of what we're doing, right? A couple of things that maybe a bit more like something that you should pay attention to, but we already covered it twice in 2 sessions. So yeah. And again, I think I said this last week, but I'll say it again this week. None of my quizzes are designed to fail you. You can only fail if you don't do them. Okay. The design of the quiz, the point of the quiz is to open the communication lane to any gaps in knowledge. So let's just say you completely biffed this test. Now some of the answers are kind of hilarious, so I'm not going to explain myself too much detail, but let's just say here, I'll go into more detail if the answer requires it. So even if you absolutely bomb one or even both of these quizzes that we have in our subject, you're not going to fail, right? Just do them to your best ability, and I'll give you feedback where it's appropriate. No, because we don't have the time for it, but you have until the 10th of August, which is the end of this week. It's Sunday, isn't it? Yes, it's until Sunday. Likewise, the next one's week 6, the end of week 6. And likewise, the big assessment, which is due the end of week 14. So let's have a look at this together. Okay, because I want you to start thinking about saving, like stashing together stuff that you may use for this, okay? Okay, so the assessment, it's develop sound designs, but the actual name of it is the sample pack creation. So we're making a sample pack. The assessment is to collaborate with either your classmates, max group of 3, or your instructor. That's already an important step. So you can do this between some of you or most of you, or just do it yourself. But if you're doing it yourself, you're talking to me, right? So your instructor plays the role of a project supervisor, as in this is a real life scenario, and you're creating a sample pack that showcases a clear creative direction and technique. So this stuff that we haven't talked about quite yet, because it gets deep in my class. We're starting very simply. 2 parts to assessment: sample pack creation and a written report. All stuff should be submitted in a single zip. Okay. So step 1, collaborate or not. I shouldn't say that. Team up with your classmates, or let me know if you're doing it as an individual. Typically online, everyone does individual, right? Whereas I'll be your project leader. But I have had some groups online before. In fact, they worked really well because they met up in person and they started turning into like a collaborative band, which is kind of nice as well. That was the case for last semester. I had one group, they're now still making music together, which is great. And the rest of the students were individuals. That's fine too. Create your sounds outlined in the sound brief. This is the brief that's highlighted for your easy reference. Proper naming, ideally. So this is the industry standard, which is artist or company name, the instrument, and the instrument title. So for example, my name, in this case, DT, it's a kick sound, and that's the title I've given it, heavy knock. That part you can be as creative as you want, but ideally you have the name, the company, artist name, whatever, and then the instrument name, so kick, snare, bass, lead, pad. Don't worry, these terms I'll get into them a bit further on in a couple of weeks. And more importantly here, there's part 2 is save them in the folders, but I'll explain this step next week. Export one-shot samples for drums. So for your drum sounds, I don't want the loop that we made in class together, right? I only want one hit. So I only need to export that. That will count as a drum one-shot for the assessment. Okay. Oops. Teams. Classwork. So drums are to be one-shots. Oh, look at you. Cheeky. Listen to me, damn it. Trying to pull a fast one. You better get it all right then, right? Doing the assessment while I'm talking. Cheeky. So drums are to be one-shots, but the melodic sounds need to be short loops. Simple melodies are fine. So this would have worked as a loop. If I hit Command J or Control J on the PC to make it into one clean loop, I could submit this as a melodic loop. Right? Blah, blah, blah. I stipulate what we actually need. 5 kicks, 5 snares, 5 tops. But again, if you don't know your instrument names so much, or especially what the requested instrument names are, I actually tell you about them in 2 weeks. So don't freak out. So 15 drum sounds in total, 6 melodic sounds in general, and I'll explain the differences. I'm gonna have to split this over a couple of weeks, I think, in terms of explaining it. So you read this in your own time. This is a report component telling you what I want. But yes, there's more details than that. But a lot of this stuff we haven't covered yet. So don't freak out, but start thinking about saving. Okay, now I'll give you some good saving conventions and tips next week onwards. Okay. All right, cats. I've got to go because son's bath time and it's going nuts. But do we have any quick questions from today? No worries. Anyone else? We're good. We're good. Not crappy. Don't think it's crappy. I know. You can do it. You can do an effective version if you want, and you can send that to me later if you want. But yeah, we're starting like pots and pans right now. That's how I equate to it. So just you wait. Yeah, that's great. Nothing wrong with that. No worries. Yep. Yeah. That's believe it or not, that does happen a lot. Because people want to speed run the quiz and be like, "Yeah, one assessment down," and they, re- that's all good. Again, no pressure. All right, see ya, everyone. All right, see ya. Bye.